for the Baltimore Orioles, who've been kicked in the gut, kicked in the stomach, thrown off the side of the boat, and are now headed home, hopefully with lots of hydration and fluids for what proves to be a very, very hot homestand here against the similarly hot Cleveland Indians. The first place Cleveland Indians come in after a swell of enthusiasm and some more big wins out in Kansas City. They have the largest lead of any division in Major League Baseball. And, I love having this guy on, but I liked it a lot more when it was always, oh, woe is us in Cleveland and poor mouth in the locals and we're never going to win and believe land. Cleveland is the center of the friggin' universe this week. For Republicans and Democrats and Americans alike on the back end of a parade, and now the first place Cleveland Indians. Michael Regai, my dear friend and defending champion. Dude, I hate bugging you twice in 1 month to come on the program, but how can I not have you on when Cleveland is clearly the center of the universe? God loves Cleveland lately, man.
Yeah, Nestor, I tell you, and it's always a pleasure to be on with you. You know that. Doesn't matter the time frame. And yeah, it has been an absolutely, many people feel like it's a surreal ride here, Nestor. And, of course, you and I had a lot of conversations through the second and third week of June. And so here we are exactly a month removed from that. And, now you could have got all my money, though. I will tell you that, my good friend. You could have got all my money back in April. If you would have told me, as you said, that on July 21st, hey, Regai, the Cleveland Indians are going to have the largest lead of any division leader in all of Major League Baseball. And I would have probably given you, I don't know, Nestor, 10, 20 to 1 and said, I'll take that action. But here they are with Terry Francona and, amazingly without their best everyday player in sweet swinging Michael Brantley. And to me, he's massaged it. He's kind of done it with smoke and mirrors. He's brought in the likes of Juan Uribe and Mike Napoli and Rajay Davis and Nixon and Matchin and getting the best out of everybody. So, can it sustain, Nestor? Well, I mean, now we're down into about 65 games to go, and I got to tell you, the division is theirs to win now. There's no question about it. They've got. You could make a case with, San Francisco and the Chicago Cubs notwithstanding that the Indians have the very best and most dominant starting pitching staff in baseball. And the numbers bear that out, and they've got 5 guys that just go out there. Some of them, Carrasco, Salazar, Kluber can dominate on any given day. And then, Bauer and Tomlin have both pitched exceptionally well, too. So, I at this point believe, again, it's theirs to lose, and Francona has a large part to do with this. I take issue sometimes with Terry's loyalty to certain veterans, and he can be stubborn at times. But as you know, Nestor, in the Birds division, I mean, he's a 2-time World Series champ with the Boston Red Sox. So, the man knows what he's doing in the dugout. And, yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a sweet ride through the first almost 4 months of the season.
My friend Michael Regai joining us here live from the land of Cleve, home of the brave and champions, and even Donald Trump for a little while this week. Yeah. Michael Regai can be followed out on Twitter at Michael Regai. He has a very, very happy child wearing a Cavaliers gear. You'll recognize him. Brantley, where are you on the Brantley train? I mean, I would say that with the trading deadline coming up, Mike, we all week long I've talked to all these reporters in New York about where the Yankees were on Sunday night and where they are now, which is believing more that they're still in this thing. The Indians are one of the teams looking to pluck maybe a Beltran, maybe one of the relievers, either Miller or Chapman, who knows his way around Ohio. I would think the Indians have to be as all in as any team could be all in to make their team better in any way they can, because this is very, very real for them right now.
It is, and Nestor, you've been around this long enough. We used to discuss this, you and I, when I was calling the Birds games. I mean, when you get an opportunity to kick the door down and believe that you can be a player in October with a shot to win it all, Nestor, come on, you can't let that pass by, man. I mean, it's not like these opportunities come up every year, especially for this organization.
Yeah, we'll
here in
spend the
Cleveland.
money, send the prospect out, and bring in someone that's going to be a
That's right.
difference maker for 60 days, right? I mean,
That's exactly right. And listen, now there's guys out there like Andrew Miller that you mentioned that are under control, meaning they're signed for a couple more years. Say the Indians wanted to get, and they do, that's their biggest need, Nestor, the bullpen, and especially a matchup left-hander that may have to face, Chris Davis, may have to face Big Papi, may have to face Prince Fielder, even though I saw he went on the DL, but you get my drift.
Sure, absolutely.
So it's a situation where, to me, and they do. Now, finally, in the last 5 years, the organization has some very highly touted, young, everyday position players, 3 or 4 of them, as a matter of fact, that, everybody in Major League Baseball has as one of the top, 50 to 100 prospects in all of the game. But again, to me, I can't worry about if they're going to be a terrific player in 2019. Again, you got to, if they are, great. They are. Good for them. But if you've got the surplus and have a chance to go get an Andrew Miller or an Aroldis Chapman or Evan Longoria, Carlos Beltran, you mentioned some of the names, Nestor, and you've got the ability to do it because those other teams covet some of your guys in high A and double A that are tearing the cover off the ball at 20, 21 years old, man, you got to go do it and kick the door down now because, again, I think you agree, don't you, that you can't project, again, prospects, sure. You want to say, well, hey, everybody around baseball believes that they're some of the best in the game and they're going to be big time when they get to the show, but you don't know that. And you also don't know if the Indians are going to be in this position again year after year in the American League Central. So I think they'll do something. Now, Michael Brantley had another setback with his trying to return. It's just been he just cannot stay healthy right now, and he's been on 3 rehab assignments since May, and each one of them seems to end where he feels twinges and tweaks of pain in that surgically repaired right shoulder. So maybe they will have to go get another bat, but they'll do something. I don't know if it'll be the big blockbuster all the Indians fans want. And now with Brantley again getting another MRI and results won't be known until tomorrow, that may change their priorities, whether they do need then to get in the sweepstakes for Carlos Beltran, Evan Longoria, Carlos Gonzalez, those type of hitters.
Michael Wright Guy joining us here from the land of Cleve, the center of God's universe right now. For the young players and for all of it to come together, we're seeing it to some degree here, right, with the Orioles, with Machado and Scope for sure, right? Maybe even Rickard and some other guys that are, younger in the organization that aren't making the big bucks yet. And we're seeing this, in Boston as well with Bradley and Betts and Bogarts all kind of coming together. That's how this thing has to happen. But I'm a Lindor guy, right? So every time I see him play, I wish you were on our team. Not to say that I don't love Machado, that I'm not digging Scope, although I haven't liked Scope's at bats earlier this week. But the whole youth movement there was also been sprinkled in, as you said, with a bunch of project off-season guys. The Orioles have that in Trumbo this year. Certainly with Cleveland, I don't think anybody could have thought Napoli's going to drive in 120 runs this year, right?
No, not at all. And, I thought, I've always liked Mike Napoli, Nestor. I liked him. And again, there's the history with Terry Francona with the Boston Red Sox. But no, you're right. I thought, what, if they could get 17, 18 bombs out of him and drive in 70, because they had him, he was the guy that was going to protect. Michael Brantley hasn't had any protection the last couple of years, hitting in the 3-hole. He's had nobody behind him of any substance and still hit 327 and 320. But, again, so they were looking for Napoli at least to be a guy that others would respect hitting behind Brantley. So now, without Brantley, Napoli, 21 home runs. He's driven in close to 70. It's been amazing. I hope it could keep up for the last couple of months. But, again, with him, Rajay Davis, Juan Uribe, and even Marlon Byrd, and then, of course, Byrd got slapped down with, the PED suspension for a year. But they've gotten a lot out of these guys, Nestor. Now, but as we said, now traditionally these are not. You were able to get them for a reason. They're no longer thought to be everyday players at 35 to 38 years of age. Napoli's been an everyday player and done a terrific job. And you're right though about Frankie Lindor. This young man is going to make, well, kind of already has, quite frankly, because he's going to make everybody forget the ever-loved Omar Vizquel. Omar Vizquel, as you know, kind of...
one of my Venezuelan brothers. I mean, I hear you.
Well, I was just going to say, kind of in the mold of some slick field and sweet shortstop I remember back in my youth by the name of Aparicio. And
which I have nothing to do with, by the way. So I didn't steal any of those bases or sign any of his autographs or any of that stuff.
It's okay. You got the namesake, my man.
But Lindor's also, Lindor's a blue chip guy. First round, first pick, all that. And it's nice when those guys move to the front of the class, in any organization, whether it's Machado or Markakis or Wieters, Messina through the years here. It's nice when those guys pan out, and it's devastating when you go 5-6 years and they don't pan out. It's also devastating when you're the Orioles and give your first round picks away for Giovanni Gallardo as well as $11 million a year and have it not pan out,
I know you're exactly right, and Lindor is a young man that everybody's in love with here, and rightfully so. I mean, he came up after a rocky first month. Well, he didn't come up till June. All that, let's get another year of control thing that the Indians almost got caught with their pants down on, meaning they should have had him up at the start of the year and waited till the end of June. But anyway, he's here now. And, yes, just dazzling, just as sparkling defensively, and a kid that's hitting 300 and driving in runs and has really, worried so much about no Brantley and Lindor has helped greatly to be almost the same type of hitter that Michael Brantley has been for the last 3 years. So everything's trending up here, Nestor. I've watched the Birds, by the way, for the last, in the Bronx. Some of my greatest times and memories of calling Orioles baseball were, of course, against Joe Torre's Yankees, whether at the Yard or in the South Bronx. And
hey, you were calling the game the night that Benitez threw at Martinez, and right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When Alan Mills knocked Darryl Strawberry on the top step of the dugout. That Nestor, I still pull that.
And that led to 14 years of last place, by the way.
Yeah, I know it did.
It did.
I know. No, I know. I hear you. But listen, look. The Orioles are, and of course, I hang on to every word of my former partner Jim Palmer. And they're too good a baseball team. Nestor, everybody goes through this. I mean, you hate to have it happen, as we said, in the South Bronx. I get it. I understand that dynamic. But, they've come out of the All-Star break a little lethargic. They're still going to win the division. And, who knows? I think, looking at Toronto's coming hard. You got to believe they're going to be a wild card player possibly with Boston. So, I think you're going to be in for a hell of a fun ride these last 2 months plus.
Well, the trading deadline's all part of that, right? So, I mean, I know you love Palmer and you worked with Palmer. I love Palmer. If Palmer and Thorne aren't calling the game, I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be lied to. And I feel like Palmer's not going to lie to me. Were you watching the broadcast on Monday night when Chapman came in and hit 105 on the gun?
I was.
Palmer almost.
I know.
Palmer almost jumped through the television.
Can you imagine?
I mean, so let me get this straight. Are they trying to BS me, you, Jim Palmer, or the GM in saying, my God, this guy throws 105 all of a sudden. We have to deal for him. I mean, what? Really?
Yeah, he's a free agent now. And so, and here's the thing here from the Cleveland perspective. Again, I mentioned the control thing. You will have to pay the price you send back. Now, I'm not going to, by any means, look, Brian Cashman's no dummy now. If you want Chapman or Miller, you better be ready to pony up the two top guys in your organization. As we said a minute ago, that everybody's got them, some have more, but, that's what it's going to take, and maybe even a player off your current roster. It's just the way baseball is. You'll have to pay more for Miller because then he'll be your guy for the next. He's signed through 18. So you got him at a cheap price if you want him. Now, that means you're going to have to pay more for him. Chapman, you could get probably a little bit cheaper. But again, yeah, here's a guy. I mean,
he was radioactive 4 months ago, dude. If the Indians, if Tito would have brought him down to spring training, out there to Goodyear in the middle of the pasture, wherever the hell it is out there in Arizona, and said, "Here, Aroldis Chapman, we're bringing him up from the Reds." It's unbelievable how these guys go from radioactive to I'm going to give away my number one 19-year-old prospect for him, right?
I got you, man. And again, it's probably going to cost two of those top prospects for him or Miller. It's just, if you want to do business, if you're going to pick up the phone and call Brian Cashman, that's where it is. But Nestor, what have they won now? They beat Boston Sunday night, and they beat the Birds. They've won 4 in a row. Now they're, a couple games over? I think they're 5.5 out, I believe.
But can they really? The question all week long, they can't win, so then they must sell. If they look, Cashman has never been in a position to deal for somebody else's kid.
But remember but Nestor, it's just not in their DNA, and I mean Hal Steinbrenner and Randy Levine. Would you agree? I mean, this is foreign to them, man.
Well, especially watching the Mets play in the World Series 10 months ago, right?
Exactly. And for them to say, we're going to now move Chapman or Miller and Beltran and wave the white flag, should it be? Yeah. I mean, but that's not what they do in the Bronx, Nestor. You know that. They never have. And I mean, I know that's a hard pill for them to swallow. It really, really is. But you wonder if in the next, now down to 9 days, somebody is going to say, look, we got a chance to get 2 top, and we're going to do it. It'll put the end to the rest of it. I think they're worried about they wind up with an empty ballpark for the next couple of months then. I don't know, but it is tough for them to say to themselves, this is what we need to do, because they've never done it. They've just never done it.
So, look, man, you called the games all those years, home team sports and all that stuff for the Orioles. So I'm used to the sound of your voice. I want to hear you give me play-by-play of Yan Gomes splitting a chicken in the Cleveland Indians clubhouse, Major League Joe Boo style. That almost makes me want to go buy a Chief Wahoo hat, and I know that's not politically correct,
Well, no, it's not at all. I wasn't in there that night, so I don't have firsthand knowledge. I've only, a couple.
It's my favorite baseball story of the 16th season. Off the field, of course.
Right? Yeah, I understand. Of course.
Well, I love the movie. Who doesn't love the movie?
Kipnis, and Napoli, and then, ironically, Nestor, then about 10 days later, Gomes the other day went in Minnesota, goes down with a separated shoulder. He was 0 for 28, and a terrific guy. Pitchers love the way he calls a game, runs a game from behind the plate.
But he's batting $165, Mike.
He's batting $160. Well, that's a big conversation here. Can they continue to go on with him hitting $165 behind? Again, behind the dish, good. Everything throws out 36 pretty good, excellent. But can't buy a base hit. So, and now that problem, if you want, has been solved. Unfortunately, he's down for 2 months. Probably not going to get him back till the final couple weeks of the regular season. And then I don't know if you can play him in the postseason. I mean,
are they in the market to deal for a catcher?
They could. Jonathan Lucroy is the target, but again, they know that's going to cost them a bundle if they want to deal with the Milwaukee Brewers and get Lucroy. So I don't know. It's they'll do something. I think they're going to get a left-handed arm in the bullpen, but I just don't know if it's going to be Chapman or Miller. I'm thinking of more along the lines of Will Smith of Milwaukee, Abad of Minnesota. Guys like that are more under the radar, won't cost you a lot, but can they do the job, in the glare of the heat of August and September? So, but that's my call. I think that's the way they'll go. That's their history. I just don't think they want to part with a couple of these young guys. By the way, their names, just for the record, are Clint Frazier and Brad Zimmer. One's 19, one's 20. They're both tearing the cover off the baseball in Double-A, and that's who everybody wants. So That's where the Indians going to have to go if they want one of these names we mentioned. I'm going to say no, that it'll be a lesser deal in the next 10 days.
Michael Regai covering all things in the land of Cleveland sports, the home of the champions as well as the RNC this week. So all the circus aside this week, certainly the hangover of all of the parade, right? And, that thrill ride that everyone in Cleveland was on with the Cavaliers. Then this giant circus that came to town the last 2 weeks, and the circus leaves this weekend. Then they're a first-place baseball team. They've started to sell some tickets there, and I remember this Indians bandwagon back in '96 and '97, and you remember it well too, Michael. It's when you came over here to call games when John Miller got chased out of here, and I'll tell you what, It's a fascinating thing when a city gets some mojo together, because I don't think it's any secret that Tito and all these guys were attending all the LeBron James functions and couldn't get to the ballpark during the parade because the parade was so damn big, and they were home during all of this. And the team may be a little inspired by all this, yes?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's everybody wants to point to that. And I think the actual count was, that it worked out either on an off day or a day game back from mid-April on. The NBA playoffs go 2 months. Tito was at 4 Cavaliers playoff games and one of the finals. Kipnis, Brantley, Lindor all showed up. Kluber. So, they trotted out their guys, the core of this baseball team. And, they all say that, Nestor, in that clubhouse. They believe that they saw it, understood what it meant to the city and to the region, and said, why not us too? So here they are right now again. I thought that they were maybe an 83, 84 win team. I thought they'd be just above 500. Too many what ifs, as we've already mentioned, bringing in a lot of 4 different guys who are at the end of their career and asking them to play significant roles, and they have. Now, Nestor, as you know well, that normally doesn't happen.
Dude, we signed Ubaldo Jimenez right around here. We signed Giovanni Gallardo right here. So, we're familiar with it. Even look at Boston, all the money they spent on Sandoval and Ramirez. Look at the Yankees right now with the Sharon A-Rod. They've gone out and invested huge sums in top-flight guys and can't get any productivity. Who the hell knew Mike Napoli had, 35 bombs and 120 RBIs in him? And the same thing would be said for, the Orioles right now with Trumbo. You make those moves in the offseason, you cross your fingers, but sometimes you wind up holding your nose like we do every time these guys take the baseball, right?
Well, yeah, no question about it. And, I remember you referenced, and I think back to the days when those 8 years I was calling the Birds. Let me do roll call here.
Here we go. Going back in the Wayback Machine. Go ahead.
Pete Incaviglia, Joe Carter, Delino DeShields. Let any of that ring true? Guys that were brought in at 35 years of age plus, and hey, they got to play a key role. Well,
Will Clark, keep going. Come on.
Will for a couple of years put some numbers up, but but this is what we're talking about. You get my drift. To me, I'm never going to expect, like you said. Napoli's on track to go 35 and $115. And now, he strikes out a lot, but, so what? He's hitting bombs. And you mentioned Mark Trumbo. And look at the tremendous year. Big. He's up on pace to do about the same, isn't he? 35 and 120?
Or then some. Yeah, absolutely.
Or then some, or more. And, that's, hey. So when you hit with something like that, as guys that are somewhat on, the back 9 of their careers, you wonder if they even can hold up every day for 6 months and give you 145, 50 games.
Sounds like Big Papi you're talking about right now.
Exactly. Well, Papi, they're trying to get him. What do you mean retire? He's another one. He looks like he's going to go out hitting 35 to 40 bombs and drive in $120 and then call it a day. So, we'll see where that goes over the winter. But, it's been a tremendous stroke of luck for the Indians with Napoli and then Rajai Davis, especially. Uribe a little bit lesser. But so here it is, and they've got a great look at this, Nestor, and with this lead. And you know the deal. Once you get into October, don't you agree that baseball, even in the NFL, hey, listen, still it comes down to you figure 2 or 3 got a shot to win. NBA, well, listen, we've dealt with that. You get 2 or 3.
Baseball, it's how you play. All the teams are so
right.
even. It's how you play. It's how you pitch. It's how you run the bases. It's how you catch the
Everything.
baseball. And,
Everything.
it's why 20 years later we still talk about the Tony Tarasco incident, and
right.
Jeffrey Merritt. Because one play, one bonehead, one Bill Buckner, and everything changes,
That's exactly right.
And I'll say this.
You can win. That's the bottom line. You get into October, it's one of the 12. You got a shot to win. I don't care what the name on the front of your jersey says. If you get into October, you can get in the World Series and win. If that's simple.
Well, and for the people of Cleveland, that hasn't happened very often. And on the back end of this parade, it's just sort of a magical, crazy thing going on there. Bring all that mysticism. Hey, dude, it's going to be a buck and some this weekend. 1 o'clock. By the way, and I know you'll want to fly in for this, Red Guy, because I know what a Jim Palmer fan you are. They're giving away Palmer throwbacks on Sunday. It's going to be 101 degrees on Sunday as Worley and Kluber take the hill. That I hope you got club level seats, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I don't know if I got club. I may just be in there, as a matter of fact, and if I am, I will give you a holler.
Yeah, I'm a medium, but I'll take a large if you can get the shirt for me. That'd be nice. I would wear a Jim Palmer throwback any day and twice on Sunday. The greatest Oriole of all time.
Well, you gotta get Jimbo on the show.
Jim hates me. Jim's paycheck is signed Peter G. Angelos, and if your paycheck is signed Peter G. Angelos, as you well know, you no longer have any core of your own volition. Palmer may be the exception, but they'd fire Palmer if he came on. If Jim Palmer came on and did 28 minutes of legitimate radio, Jim Palmer would be fired. Yes, that's correct.
Well,
that is absolutely correct.
That's hard to wrap my mind around, but no,
that's a fact.
I understand where you're going, and it's a fine line. I hope everybody understands that it is a fine line you walk. But I'm now
in my 10th year of exile as the Edward Snowden of the Baltimore Orioles. That's who I am.
You're Edward Snowden.
I am. I'm the Edward Snowden. I am. I'm somewhere on the internet lurking, but not really out there.
I got you. Well, listen, I just hope that, because I tell everybody here in Cleveland, Jim Palmer is one of the finest analysts that we have in any sport. Any sport.
I agree.
Ever. I tell everybody that all the time. Hey, who's the best? Hands down, Jim Palmer, the best I've ever worked with. And listen, you said it earlier now, Jim's going to tell you the real. I mean, I've never known Jim to sugarcoat stuff. I mean, I could go back and...
Well, that's the problem. If Palmer came on with me, I would ask him real questions, and he'd get himself into trouble.
I know.
Like when he talked bad about Brady Anderson and steroids at one time, I'm surprised he still has a gig after that, because we all know Brady Anderson did not use steroids. Ask him. Just ask him.
Yeah, I know. I got you. Well, I remember... I'll never forget the David Segui thing. A Sunday morning, we walk into the clubhouse, and Segui comes tearing across the clubhouse and wants Palmer and wants to take him out because Jim on the air says, hey, we know what's going on with this guy. He breaks down. Why do you think he breaks down? Why do you think that as the breakdowns come, the production tails off? And so,
there were no steroids in the Oriole clubhouse at all. Just ask Jason Grimsley or Rafael Palmeiro or Sammy Sosa or just to ask any of them. They'll tell you. I mean, they didn't exist. Well, I mean, that's where we are, where we're trying to talk about truth and not truth, and I deliver truth, and truth pisses people off, Ray Guy. You know this.
I know. Oh, we know that.
Truth is the Indians are in first place, and the Orioles are scuffling right now, and the Orioles need better pitching.
They'll be fine.
And I don't know. I mean, if you gave me $1, I bet it on the Red Sox right now, Mike, because they had more artillery to go out and get better players right now. The Orioles don't have the ability to get much better in the next 10 days, and that's kind of the sad tell of the organization is they don't have depth to deal from. They don't have a couple of players at Double-A like the Indians that everybody else wants.
I understand. Well, I'm a big believer, though. I do. At times like this, to me, that's where managers, over the course of 162, people will poo-poo that, but managers do mean something. I look to managers when That team is scuffling, and times seem to be going in the wrong direction. And you got one of the best in your dugout in Major League Baseball. You know that.
Well, I just hope
the
the stomach bug got to him. We didn't even have him in the middle of the week in New York. I mean, the team got sick. The team's gotten banged up, and now it's 100 degrees, and they've hit some turbulent water, and they're facing the best team in baseball right now, right? I mean, we can call the Indians that, right?
Well, they've got the best record in the American League. I'm San Francisco Giants.
Okay, but lately, and the other thing, the Orioles get a break because they're not seeing Salazar Carrasco either, right?
Yeah, right. The Orioles do. Salazar and Carrasco pitched the last 2 days, so you will not have to look at them, the two real gems of the Indians' rotation. So, it'll be a fun series, Nestor. I look forward to it, and I hope you and I can. Well,
we'll talk Browns in a few weeks. Don't worry. It'll be great.
The Browns are going to get on the practice field as training camp begins. Now, I don't think you have to worry about calling me in November and saying, "God damn, Rick, the Browns are 9-4." I don't think you got to worry about that.
I'll call you in September. You'll still be in the pennant race, and the Browns will be 0-something.
Probably,
hey,
yeah.
Be good. Always great having you on, man, and always enjoy it. You got it, man. Michael Regai, one of the great dudes. And I have a bromance with Regai. I mean, I just do. I mean, I like guys who know sports. I like guys who know what the hell they're talking about. I like guys that are versatile, that do the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball and can do it all and do college football as well. That's who Michael Regai is. So go check him out, Michael Regai, on Twitter. Certainly worth a follow, and always very gracious with his time as well as his expertise on our programming. You can find me, Nasty, at WNST.net, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. I either make sense or make no sense at all in all of those medium. We're also out on Facebook Live as well as on our WNSTV page on YouTube. You can subscribe, get the videos at the top of your timeline, and you can always find anything you miss in the Bio Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. We come in crystal clear. And our morning newspaper, if you missed that, 7 a.m. every morning, subscribe. Comes to your email inbox, free of charge, powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. And last but never least, breaking news happens first on the WNST Tech Service. We get it first. You get it first. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis is here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home. Stay cool this weekend. Lay low. Hang out under trees. Find some cool water. Stay hydrated. We are WNST.net AM 1570 and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.